Hey, this is Ryan Levesque here, and I'm really excited for today's interview. And the reason I'm so excited today is because the story of the woman that I'm going to be sharing with you here today is one that is really, really interesting because she's someone who operates in somewhat of an obscure niche, one might say. And she's really built a business in the retail space. And it's one that's been not super scalable, an offline business that's kind of had a ceiling to it that has some challenges associated with it, which we'll talk in just in a moment, and really wanted to build a more leveraged, scalable business by taking her business from offline to online and shifting away from selling physical products and moving into teaching, moving into education. So if you're in that situation right now that you're thinking about starting an online business or shifting your business to a more online business, I think you're really going to love the story. I think you're going to be really inspired by the quiz behind it and around the initial results that the quiz has gotten in just a very short amount of time. So with that being said, I'm very excited and pleased to introduce our special guest here today, the one, the only, Ms. Jennifer Lee. Jennifer, what is going on? How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
So you've got to tell us, you've got this beautiful background behind you right now, and I think that might give us a sense of the type of business, the type of market, the type of niche that you're in right now. But maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about your business. Tell us, what do you
Sure.
sell and who do you serve?
Okay, absolutely. So I not only inspire quilters, I have a curated collection of fabrics, patterns, notions, a whole she shed full of inventory, right? In fact, I'm here just looking at all of this stuff sitting here in our e-commerce business. But now I also help the quilters actually overcome some obstacles that include mindset challenges that help them finish their quilts. And we call these UFOs, or unfinished objects. So
Mm.
I've been really focused as of late in helping them take the U out of UFO.
I love it. So it's really fascinating. So you have a business where you sell, physical supplies, e-commerce business. You're selling supplies to quilters, and now shifting kind of your focus and attention to doing more teaching and selling that education as a part of your business. But take us back to the beginning. There's a million things you could be doing in this world right now. What drew you to quilting? Take us back. How did you get into what
Yeah.
you're doing right now?
All right. So if you rewind to 2014, I had the wind behind my back. I had a supportive husband, and I left corporate America to kind of figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I did an exercise where I just tried to reflect on things, that made me happy. And I remember just really fond memories of watching my grandma quilt on her quilting rack in the basement with my aunts and her neighbors, and we'd be nestled underneath the quilt, and she's the one that taught me how to stitch. And I thought, wow, this, I could really get my head around this. But I also knew I didn't want it to be just a hobby business, right? I wasn't in there just so I could quilt. I was in there to replace my salary from my corporate job, and frankly, to make money, right? So that's what I set my targets on. They say, if you build it, they will come. I think I learned very quickly that's not that's not the case, or it's not that easy. So I supplemented my e-commerce business by going to quilt shows. So I set up a booth, and I'd lug and schlep my inventory cross country, and set up beautiful displays. It was awesome to meet customers in person. I really enjoyed that face-to-face interaction. But to be quite honest, it was very taxing on my body. It was a very physical kind of thing. And that's when I said, it was like late 2019, 2020, that I needed to pivot the business. I couldn't keep up this pace. The margins aren't there to support that. I needed to find a way to create digital offerings that I could use my expertise and teach others and share what I know. And that's kind of, here comes the pandemic. And so sort of on the heels of that and quarantining, I realized there was an opportunity. So I created a community to help support these quilters who were kind of locked down in their homes, looking at their sewing rooms filled with stuff, not many opportunities to buy stuff aside from online. And so the process became, how do we tackle all of those projects that you have sitting there unfinished one by one, to kind of refine that joy, that spark when you first purchased all of that stuff. So And there's definitely a need. I mean, when you start looking at some of the industry data, quilters have, these dedicated quilters have on average $13,000 worth of supplies, notions, projects just sitting there in their sewing rooms. Yet they're starting 8 to 10 new projects every year on average. And so that's where I thought, it's sort of contrary to my retail business model where I want to sell them more stuff, but I just felt genuinely the need. I enjoyed helping them make progress on the stuff that they already have. And then this trust, this relationship that builds when they're able to make progress. And then they sort of circle back around to my retail side of the business to purchase things. So anyways, that was great. But I guess I realized, to create this pivot and to be successful and to scale, I wanted to grow my email list. So I had already done various other strategies, giveaways, organic growth, sign-up sheets, pop-ups, all of that. But I wanted something that was more sustainable. And I actually heard you, Stu McLaren was interviewing you among the tribe community. And you talked about the quiz funnel masterclass. And you sort of had me. I said, that is my people love this kind of stuff, right? And so I listened further to the details and the offering, and I signed up and didn't look back.
I love that. And, there's so many lessons. I just want to unpack a few things. There's so many lessons in what you just shared with there that I just want for anyone watching this and listening to this right now can take away from this experience. So number one is you identified first and foremost a niche, a market in which people invest a substantial amount of money into this hobby, right? For many of these, mostly women, I imagine, but for men and women, but mostly women, $13,000 of supplies, unfinished stuff, that's not a small amount of money. So that's kind of like a check in the box of this is a good market to be thinking about because people are highly invested themselves in it. So that was lesson number one that I took. Lesson number two is that you identified this challenge, this problem that existed in the marketplace from both your own personal experience, the conversations you had with your customers and other people in the market, and the industry data. And you sort of triangulated that and said, I think there's this opportunity to help women with these UFOs, these unfinished objects, which is going to get to the quiz that we're going to talk about here in just a moment, which was great. And then you recognized the value in building an email list. And I think that's something that not everybody appreciates how important that is. I like to say leads are the lifeblood of any business. And when you have an email list, when you have a large responsive email list that you can reach out to, that you can engage, that you can send emails selling stuff, they will buy from you over and over and over again. And you'll get to a place where you're never wondering where that next customer is going to come from, where that next sale is going to come from. It just puts the power in your hands. So you made so many smart moves around there. I just wanted to unpack those for anyone watching this right now so they can begin thinking about how might this apply to my business, my market? And that brings us to the quiz. So speaking of email list, I think you shared with me that you built a substantial email list. But it took quite a few years to get there. Maybe you could talk about pre-quiz funnel, the numbers on your email list.
Yes. So pre-quiz funnel, I had roughly 10,000 subscribers. However, that took me 7 years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get those. Either tracking them down at the quilt shows or offering these crazy giveaways for which then they really weren't that engaged after giving up their emails. So yeah.
So 7 years, 10,000-ish email subscribers. Fast forward, you go through the quiz funnel masterclass, you go through the quiz funnel workshop, you go through the process. You create your own quiz, which we're going to look at here in just a moment. And the numbers that I think you shared within 3 months of launching that quiz, how many email subscribers did you generate?
An additional 8,000. So we nearly doubled, right? We grew it by 80% in 3 months. That's the crazy part for me. Unreal.
It's insane. I mean, I'm just going to say, So 7 years to generate 10,000 email subscribers. And like you said, slugging it out and just, clawing your way through those numbers to turning the quiz on, and then 3 months later generating nearly 8,000 email subscribers and counting, by the way. I mean, it's not like this is still going. 8,000 in less than 3 months. That is pretty exciting. That's pretty incredible. Is there anything you want to say before we actually pull up the quiz itself and take a look, or is now a good time to do that?
So I would just add that not only have I grown my email list substantially in a short time frame, but they're also really engaged subscribers as well. So statistically speaking, more of them are opening my emails. So it's great to have this dialogue going on with them, to get them ready for some of the things that I have, envisioned for the future to create.
Yeah, I love that. And we'll pull those stats up on my screen here. You shared sort of some numbers that, getting great open rates, great engagement across your business, almost 23% on the non sort of quiz people. That took us, quite a long time to grow. But the quiz people, in just a few months alone, not only has that list grown to nearly 8,000 people, but 26% open rate, which, on the surface might seem, well, 26 versus 23, that's not that big of a deal. That's almost a 20% increase when we look at percentage increase terms, 20% increase. And when you think about that and you translate that across your business, a 20% increase in open rates can translate to a 20% increase in your business, because if more people are opening your emails, more people are clicking on the emails. If more people are clicking on the emails, then more people are buying from the emails. So we'll talk about the sales part in just a moment, because there's some exciting kind of up to the minute news that we're going to share in just a moment. But before we do that, I think it's a good time to now actually take a look at your quiz. So let's take a look at on the screen here. We've got this great quiz. What's keeping you from finishing your quilt? Take this quiz to find out what type of quilter are you. And we got this great little quiz here. We've got the different quilting types with the different quilt blocks. I love the way you've done that with the icons. So you've kind of created this imagery that's really, really cool for your market. We got a cool report that we give people based on their results. And talk to us a little bit about what you're doing here in the quiz before I click the Start Quiz button. So what are you trying to figure out?
Yeah, so I created a type quiz so that I could bucket these folks and have a universal product on the back end to offer them. And so the idea here was I just got new contacts, and so I'm having a little trouble seeing. Is that the first question, Ryan?
That's okay. I can talk through it. Yeah. So
okay.
We've got a great grease the wheels question. Do you prefer to stitch by machine or by hand? They would ask a question about experience level, so how long someone's been quilting. We ask kind of their preferences about, when they're starting a new project, what that looks like. What's their biggest challenge? Frustrated, busy, distracted, disappointed. I love that question. How many unfinished projects, UFOs, do you have? I can count them on one hand. I can count them on two hands. I need more than two hands to count, too many to count. That question makes me laugh. By the way, out of curiosity, how does that market break down for you? Do you have a sense how people answer this question?
I do. So I would 20% say they can count on one hand, and then the rest are on two hands or more. Yes.
Which is huge when you think about it, right? So I just want to pause for a moment there. When you have a well-designed quiz funnel like Jennifer has here, one of the biggest values is that you're able to learn about your audience along the way. So not only are they signing up for your email list, they're giving you their email in exchange for their quiz results, you're learning so much about your audience along the way. And so what we're learning here is that 80% of our market can count on two hands or more the amount of unfinished projects they have. That's a great validation point that tells us we're onto something, that this is a hot button in the market that represents a huge opportunity. And then we just ask a few more sort of demographic questions and diagnosis questions to learn a little bit more about their situation. And then based on this, we kind of tease them with your results. Your results are CDQB. Where should we send your results? And then what happens next?
Next, they get the results, and we have an outcome video that takes them through the various mistakes that they can make and what it means, and what solutions we have to help them overcome those obstacles.
I love it. And it sets us up for being able to deliver a tremendous amount of value in a short amount of time, right? So they might not know who Jennifer Lee is. They might not be familiar with you and your business, but they go through this process, and by delivering value right off the bat in a way that's not generic, it's not a one-size-fits-all lead magnet that everybody gets, you're really speaking to their specific situation, their concerns, their frustrations. You're able to build trust and rapport in a very short amount of time, and it sets you up beautifully to be able to make that sort of first sale. So I'd like to kind of bring things home by chatting a little bit about that. I know it's early days, and I know we're literally just kind of getting started here, but I'd love for you to maybe share. You launched a program, you launched an educational aspect to your business, and maybe you could talk a little bit about where you are in your journey to getting your first few sales.
Yes. So we did a founding member launch in the middle of the summer 2020. And so February of this year was our official doors open for our membership. Again, it's supporting those who want to make progress on their UFOs. And with the quiz funnel and the new leads we created, we created a challenge, a 5-day challenge that led into Cart Open for our membership. And I'm so excited. We doubled our membership. We brought in $5,500 that month in February. So super excited about the possibilities.
I was saying before our interview, first of all, congratulations. That is freaking awesome. Like, that is so cool to be doing that. What's great about it is it's not $5,000 in a digital offering like that is very different than selling $5,000 of fabric. Because $5,000 of fabric or thread or something like that, the margins are itty bitty. So the amount of money that you're actually taking home and putting in your pocket at the end of the day, relatively small, versus when you sell a digital program, $5,000, a good portion of that actually is margin. It actually goes in your pocket. It's profit that you get to keep at the end of the day. So that's number one. Number two, as we were saying before we hopped on live, the first $5,000 is the hardest $5,000 that you're ever going to make. Like, it's the hardest to get something new off the ground like that. And now you've got this machine. You've got this lead generating machine, this quiz, that continues to produce leads and potential customers for you and your business day in and day out. And now you've got this program on the back end that you can sell to these leads, that every time you open the doors, every time you open it up, you're going to bring more people into your world and double your membership and double it again and double it again, and get the first $10,000, first $10,000 month, first $100,000 year on that particular product, and go from there. So, like, I can see the trajectory for you. I can see where it's headed, and I couldn't be more excited for you and what's ahead.
Thank you so much.
So my final question before we wrap things up in the time that we have is, for anybody watching this right now, they've got, they may be in a situation right now where they're hearing your story and they're seeing your quiz, and they may be in a situation that's not that dissimilar to where you were when you were at that moment of, do I sign up for this quiz funnel training? Yes or no? Should I do this? Should I not do this? What would you say to someone who's watching this right now and they're maybe thinking about signing up? They're saying, oh, it's not a small amount of money. It's a big decision I've got to make for myself. They're on the fence. Do I do it? Do I not do it? What would you say to someone in that situation?
Don't wait. Don't wait. I mean, 7 years. 7 years, and what I was able to do with the quiz funnel in 3 months was evidence in and of itself. I mean, the outcome, it's fantastic. And I wished I had come across you sooner, Ryan, but I didn't. But I'm here now, and for me, it's opening up endless possibilities. I have so many ideas. Now it's just going to take focus to kind of hit them one at a time, and to continue to stay focused. But it's more than just, as we talked about, the subscribers and this list of people that I have to sell to that are becoming warmer and warmer every day. It's also information, right? I have now the ability to build what they want, because I can ask them what they want, because we have a relationship now, we have this dialogue going. And so again, don't wait. I mean, this was the best investment I made in myself and in my business, and for the future of my business.
I love it. Listen, Jennifer, like I said, I'm so excited for you, for your future, and I'm really just grateful that you took time out of your schedule in the she shed. In the she shed to be here with us. Internet held up, which was awesome, to tell us a little bit about your story and really inspire folks who might be in a similar situation. So I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. With that said, this again is Ryan Levesque here, and I just want to acknowledge everyone here that this is an opportunity in front of you to join us at this upcoming quiz funnel workshop by going to the link quizfunnelworkshop.com. This is something that we really only do periodically, oftentimes just once a year. So your timing right now, if you're watching this, is pretty spot on. And like Jennifer said, don't wait. Now's the time to do this. What took Jennifer 7 years to do, she was able to do in basically 3 months in her business on the back of this opportunity. So if you would like to have the power of a quiz funnel to generate consistent flow of leads and customers for you in your business, whether you're literally just getting started, whether you're pivoting from a e-commerce to an education business, whether you're pivoting from a retail in-person business to an online business, or you're literally just starting from scratch, there's never been a better time than right here, right now, today. So simply follow the instructions that you see on this page or post. Go to the link quizfunnelworkshop.com, and I look forward to seeing you inside the workshop. Take care and talk soon.